So I thought I'd just talk very, very briefly about eating ancestrally consistent. And you'll often hear, and it is true, that our ancestors did also eat plants. It's not like all of our ancestors just ate fatty red meat. Many of them obviously had eggs and fish, and then they came across certain edible plants they gathered, whether it be tubers, some nuts, berries, that kind of thing. But the big difference really in terms of that argument in the context of the modern world in comparison to how we used to eat in the wild is that, first of all, the plant materials that people consume today are nothing like the plants that were out there in the wild 15,000 years ago, let alone 300,000 years ago. But also, you won't find blueberries all year round, right? You're not going to find macadamia nuts all year round and avocados all year round. When people believe that bananas are a health food, even though it's just a load of sugar with some potassium in, they'll put some banana in their porridge oats every single morning for breakfast. That is not ancestrally consistent. It's certainly not appropriate metabolically. And so if you're talking about eating ancestrally consistent, we can't really do it anyway. It's like people that think that they're on a paleo diet. You can't be on a paleo diet. We're not in the Paleolithic era. You can have a modern style paleo diet where you eat mostly fatty animal nutrition, hopefully red meat, things like that. And then you can incorporate some local, seasonal and ripe plants, right? And I would argue that is an absolutely fantastic diet. What a great diet that is. If you're thinking about comparing that with a vegan diet, a vegetarian diet, a balanced diet, which is atrocious, by the way. If you're eating a balanced diet, you're activating at very high levels your Randle cycle, and that's not good. You're also just not generating the same amount of NADH and FAD, and you're not generating the same amount of ATP. Human beings that are in glycolysis all the time, metabolizing carbohydrates, they're not getting the same amount of ATP, so beta oxidation, fatty acid oxidation, ketone production, being fat adapted, running on fats as your main fuel source is definitely the way to go. We all know that we ate lots of animal nutrition in the wild, and we certainly didn't go around cutting off the fat, right? And there just isn't enough carbohydrate available, certainly all year round, to not be in nutritional ketosis. We're born into ketosis, babies go in and out of ketosis. It is just the natural way to be, you'll hear a lot of people talking about, oh, it's not the preferred energy source. It's like, well, if you eat sugar, you're going to use that fast. Of course, you're going to use that quickly. You're going to have to produce insulin to clear the sugar out of your blood, because otherwise you're going to die. So I don't know how that's the preferred energy source, but there you go. That's what people do believe. I think most people believe that. But no, the preferred energy source is the one in line with our genetics, the one that's actually realistic when we're looking in terms of a wild setting. You're out there in the wild. Where are all those porridge oats exactly? Where is all that bread and pasta and the nuts and the seeds, the berries and the legumes? They're non-existent, basically. Over here, blackberries, strawberries, raspberries, they're available for maybe a month, and then they're gone for 11 months. So you can't say you're eating ancestrally consistent if you're having blackberries every single day. First of all, you're having to farm these things. They're being shipped from different places, so you can eat this so-called healthy, balanced diet. You can eat local, seasonal and ripe plants. If you do so, you'll realize actually there's not many plants on my plate most days, because right now there isn't any plants available. I've been out window cleaning all morning. You could go on a hike for 12 miles and look for food in the way of vegetation. Good luck with that. You ain't going to find many things that you can eat. Now, there is an argument. Well, animals aren't the same as they used to be. No, but they're still made of the same raw materials and essential nutrients. They're still made of fat and protein. They're animal cells, right? Now, yes, plants are made of plant cells, but these days they're extra high in carbohydrate, not good. And we're not depleting deuterium the way we should be. We're not adapted outside to the cold. We're not getting enough sun. We're not moving around enough, all this kind of stuff. So the fluids that we drink, the food that we eat, certainly carbohydrates, but particularly fruits and honey, everybody. Fruits and honey are super high in deuterium. Deuterium isn't good. It's a hydrogen isotope, and it basically will damage your mitochondria. And where we're not depleting it, that can be a real issue. The idea around a carnivore diet is that we're eating exclusively fatty animal products. Fats, super nutritious, protein from animals, very bioavailable in the right ratios, and you're getting all the nutrients that you actually need. Now, the moment you include any plant material, you will lose nutrients. Fiber blocks nutrients, and they contain actual anti-nutrients, aka plant toxins. And so if you're out in the wild and you stumble across berries, of course you're going to eat them. You're out in the wild, it's tricky out there, it's brutal out there. You may not survive unless you fall back on certain plant materials. They subsisted during unsuccessful hunts. It's not like we brought down a ruminant animal, we cut off the fat, and then we went and gathered carbohydrate. It didn't work like that. And so I understand our ancestors did eat certain plants, but if you're under the impression that we ate nuts and berries every single day and honey all the time and fruit all the time, that's false. It's not possible. Everything is available seasonally. A lot of these things come and go pretty quickly. Yes, there are parts of the globe where fruit is available for longer periods of time, but what's in a fruit anyway? Where's your essential fatty acids, amino acids? Like I say, it's super high in sugar, particularly fructose. You've got the indigestible fiber, which will block nutrients and promote gas. And then you've got anti-nutrients, which will block mineral absorption, for example. It's just kind of crazy to believe that just because we've been told that fruits are healthy, that we should be eating certain fruits all year round, even though they didn't grow in your country ever. We've hybridized and modified these things, we've created them, and now they're on your plate all year round because they're being farmed and then shipped over so that you can eat a colourful, balanced, everything in moderation diet. So the reason really why many of us are eating a lion diet or a strict carnivore diet, fish, meat, eggs, for example, is because they're nutrient-dense foods. They're non-inflammatory for most people. If you are sensitive, then go on a lion diet. It's the least inflammatory types of foods that you can eat, and it's the most nutrient-dense. It's like win-win. And I understand most people look at that and go, well, that's not balanced. Well, I'm afraid it is balanced. The balance is there in the fat and the protein. You get all the nutrients in the fats and the proteins coming in at the same time, like an egg. It's a complete food. If you put every edible plant food that's man-made into a bowl, you still need to supplement. That's the difference. And so, yes, we did eat plants. Plants were scarce. Most are very toxic to the point that you'll get sick or die. And so we were very selective about what we gathered. And we didn't gather anything that you see today and what you're eating today in the way of plants. I personally don't add any plant materials to the diet. I don't deviate. The reason why is I can't think of a good enough reason to eat a single plant, not an olive, not a berry, not a nut, whether it's local, seasonal or ripe. I can't see why eating anti-nutrients is a benefit. You're not balancing anything out, you offset balance. And so I just thought I would rant basically about eating ancestrally consistent, because first of all, it's not possible, just like the paleo diet's not possible in modernity. And really we should be looking at food from a nutrient density perspective, it being high quality, preferably organic, grass-fed, grass-finished ruminant meat is the purest source of nutrition on the planet, fact. And you don't need to eat anything else. The moment you start eating fiber and oxalic acid and tannins and phytates and these so-called polyphenols that are so healthy for us, it's like you just lost minerals, you lost nutrients, things like B6, zinc, calcium, magnesium, iron. Why would I want to lose any of that? And so there you go. That's why I eat basically a lion diet. I think it's the most nutrient dense, least inflammatory, most complete, and the most balanced. How about that?